I am off to the land of the rising fun. This time I'll be taking a longer trip of 18 days and I will hit all the major cities for toy shopping and hanging out. This trip is going to be a wonderful trip because I'll be meeting up with other collectors who are also flying into Japan. I have been flying to Japan on toy hunts since the end of the 2000s. I would usually fly at least 2 times a year. Every trip to Japan I have done so alone, and only this year I've begun to record my travel. This video will be a compilation of photos of the trip. I took 9 hours of footage on my GoPro and it was stolen on the last day. So please bear with me, and next trip will be all video and be even 10 times better. After crashing out like a newbie, the next day I met out with a toy collector friend from Norway. We planned to start off at a Mandarake toy shop in Ikebukuro. I know this station very well. I said we should meet at the south exit with these large stone owl statues. Little did I know they had changed the signs and layout of the exits. With some limited brain usage and a little bit of time, we met up at the Parco department store entrance to then go inside and explore the Mandarake. The joke, of course, was this was the mall entrance from the station, but as I took them through, I couldn't find Mandarake at all. This is one of the golden rules of Japan. You think you know where you're going, but you really don't. We retraced our steps back to the station and then walked out the south exit. I usually go this route to Mandarake anyways, and lo and behold, Parco is 2 buildings that are not connected. Lovely. How lovely. So we finally reached the basement and Mandarake. It's a lovely Mandarake. There's just the one basement. It's just rows of showcases, and inside the parameter is just going to be aisles and aisles of new toys, box toys, anime toys, model kits, and so forth. I hustled over to the Transformers case because that's like my go-to. There wasn't too much fascinating, to be honest. I'm still searching for a couple key pieces for my collection, of course, but these days the prices are just up there. Like, I don't personally have a Metro Titan. I think that's a very expensive price for a Metro Titan. That's probably why they still have 2 of them. But that being said, there isn't that much vintage stock. It's hard to get in vintage, and then it's also hard to retain vintage because it sells so quickly unless you're overpriced. So it's just an odd conundrum right now. I looked over a Micron. It looked like a pretty rare piece and a really fair price. Then I moved on to the vintage diecast 70s and 80s robots. And they're pretty cool. I love this stuff, but I'm also not paying buku bucks for this stuff. It's fun things to have. Then I moved on to the Power Rangers section, and there was so much good stuff. I'm tempted to buy a lot of those Megazords I don't have from the mid 80s, but it's the beginning of the trip, and I need to start planning out where the money needs to be spent correctly. And none of this is jumping out at me, literally saying that you have to buy it right now because the deal is so good. But it's still nice to see this much stuff being offered. I walked around the rest of the Mandarake looking for any other deals. I checked out the American toys around the shelves. I checked the showcase full of Star Wars vintage, which we'll get to in a moment. I looked at the Bakugan, see if any rare, unique Bakugan was worth getting, any of the model kits and the Macross stuff. It's fun, but it was that first time. I'm trying to be reserved, as I said. But in the end, I picked up a original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Japanese blaster with a little bit of a wear for roughly $20, and a Japanese Spinja in the original package for roughly $20 as well. After this, we took a long trip to the east side of Tokyo to a special store that very few people know of. They have premium vintage toy, dead stock, unused toys at times. It's a very small store, but at times you could walk out with some amazing items. We spent quite a bit to get there, and in the end we just found it closed with a sign saying, "Away." Last time I was here, the guy also was magically closed on a weekend, so it's a tough break on our first day. So there's another guy who has never been to Japan that's been hanging out with us. We let him decide what to do next. He absolutely does not collect toys, but we're working on them. The gateway drug is always childhood toys and anime girl statues. He decided he wants to visit Skytree, which I've never been to before, and we all go. It's a wonderful view from 400 meters high, and when I look at the skyline, I begin to wonder like everyone else. Seeing all those people moving about in this busy world, vehicles, cars, boats, all destinations in mind, I can only think about which houses and buildings I'm looking at are hiding rare, unique toys, and how do I get them? If anyone else is thinking differently, they are crazy and need to be locked up. We then cut back to Shibuya using a taxi. Our feet are killing us since we just arrived and are not used to the 25,000 steps a day yet. With 3 people, it works out pretty well financially, and we get a small rest. We get to show our new blood the famous crosswalk and explain to him who Hachiko is, the famous dog. We slowly progress to the Shibuya Mandarake, which is a couple blocks in from the main station. Now, this Mandarake has always been an average store. It was known to have better American toys than the other Mandarakes, but being how things are with a ton of tourists and limited options of unique things to buy, this place was pretty bad. I can only remember my glory days of seeing original G.I. Joe carded swivel arm figures packaged for $15 on these racks instead of now being behind the showcase. If you're in the area, it's worth checking out, but the same stock of Transformers were here with the same overpriced Beast Wars Razor Claw from the previous trip. Same overpriced Inferno. Nothing called out to me, which, if anything did, would mean that I'm hearing Classic Toys calling my name, which means, of course, I need help, or I'm the chosen one. I checked out the other toys from Power Rangers, Shogoken robots, Robotech, Bakugan, Pokemon cards. I even checked out some of the books that they had. And even though it's really nostalgic to come back here and crawl through their entire store, which is just the one basement floor, I ended up finding nothing to buy. I'm holding off on buying a lot of stuff because I already own so much stuff. I really just want those specific vintage items I've been looking for. But I also at some point will go back and buy like those amazing new Valkyries from Macross. But that being said, I did see the showcase for the American toys, and as you can see, there's really nothing vintage anymore. We used to see loose and packaged He-Mans and G.I. Joes, Mad Balls, and all these are amazing toys, and now it's just all new stuff and pop vinyls. Ugh. Here is the Power Rangers showcases, and they did have a fair amount of stuff, to be honest. And yes, there were things I definitely needed for my collection, but again, I'm being very overly picky in the beginning of the trip, and I kind of regret that now looking at these photos. But yeah, I need some of those Megazords. I need some of those mid-80 pieces. Look at that Titanus. Look at that Tor. I don't even have all the 5-inch die-cast action figures still, and I would like to complete those sets. But overall, I held off. Let's just put it that way. Since then, I don't collect much newer Power Ranger stuff after Dino Charge because I own so much as it is. I just can't keep buying the world. Looked at the other figures nearby, some of the Kamen Riders, some of the other Sentai stuff. It's interesting to look at, but none of this really calls to me directly. Shogoken style newer robots. These are really cool. I'd love to play with these. But again, just gotta hold off, be focused. Looked at some of the rare Pokemon. That is a rarity symbol missing Black Star Venusaur. And that was roughly it. As I said, I left and it was okay. It was okay not to spend money, but it doesn't feel like the way it used to be, where I would walk into every Mandarake in all previous trips and I would walk away with at least 1 or 2 bags full of amazing items. It's just a sign of the times. There was a funky Harry Potter, I have no idea what's going on, poster chilling next to the elevator bank. we found a liquor store that had a fascinating offer through its gashapon machine. You could put in 5,000 yen or 10,000 yen and have a chance at winning a very expensive liquor bottle, which is gambling with liquor. I thought that was a little intriguing, and welcome to Japan, right? And that was roughly it. The stores that offer collectibles like Mandarake all close around 8 p.m. And the day has winded down. We walked around and explored Shibuya and just saw the amazing structures and people and stores. Went out to a couple bars and had a fun time and got to enjoy the amazing statues. Oh my god, look at this statue right here. Yes, this is real. They're either going to be absolutely insane like this or just naked people. It's just something I've never figured out. Why? Why Japan? On a side note, I also found Tomato Land. I know, exciting. You would think that Tomato Land would actually be like a land, perhaps with a castle and a town, but no, it's in a building. It's in a small building, but at least now, like Sesame Street, I know exactly where it is. If you've come this far, I really appreciate it. I've had difficulty making this video, and even up to this exact moment at 5 in the morning, I did not realize the handheld microphone was not working at all until this exact moment where I just fixed it. But the next videos will definitely be stronger, showcasing more actual finds that I did dig up, which I actually am astounded over and very happy with. And then every video I'll try to end with a montage of photos of the showcases and things that I did with no audio or music, which let me know if you want that. But in general, having the camera stolen from me on the last day after I worked so hard to do B footage, all these shots of all the stores and everything, it's been absolutely devastating. And this is the best I can do to make something of a showcase for the trip, and I appreciate if you guys have lasted this long again.